OnePlus 12R might be one of my most favorite phone of the year just for value alone. You can get this phone for $400 to $500. It is considered mid-range price these days, and I think it is a really good phone for the price. A lot of time the mid-range phones tend to get forgotten. People like to talk about the flagship phone, the most expensive, best of the best. Galaxy S24 Ultra, iPhone 15 Pro Max. People are always interested in the best flagship phones and tend to be the most expensive phones. I like to focus on value phones more, and I think this phone is really good value. Today I'm going to talk you through 8 categories that I got ranking from 1 to 5 for each categories. At the end of the video, I will let you know where the OnePlus 12 rank. So first category I got is the cool factor and design. This phone doesn't bend, it doesn't fold, doesn't have any pop-up cameras. I know those things are gone, but it is pretty much the OnePlus standard design. You look at any of the OnePlus phone over the last few years, they all practically look the same. The OnePlus 11, the 12, you glance at it side by side. I don't think anybody gonna know the difference if I had this along the 12 without even touching, feeling, holding the phone. They all have pretty similar design, so nothing too exciting there. Nothing really wow you about this phone. I do like that the alert slider did come back, so you can mute your phone easily. For whatever reason, they got rid of it in the OnePlus 10T, but now it's coming back. I like that this phone has an IR blaster as well, even though I haven't used it over the last week or so of having this phone. Just because of the fact that I don't really watch TV anymore. Super busy these days, the kid making videos and all that. But if I were to watch TV, I would love to have the IR blaster because I'm always losing my TV remote. But it's a nice touch for a mid-range phone. Even the OnePlus 12 have it as well. It's kind of a lost art these days. IR blaster, micro SD slots. I actually would love to see the micro SD slot come back compared to the IR blaster, but we'll take it one step at a time. The screen is large. It's roughly 6.8 inches. I know there might be a few decimals here and there. I'm just gonna round this to 6.8. It is a pretty large phone, but it feels pretty light. Galaxy S24 Ultra is also 6.8 inches, but when I use the Ultra, it feels much heavier and bigger just because it just has more weight and gram. But when I use the OnePlus 12, the OnePlus 12R, it doesn't really scream to me as being a large phone, maybe because it feels a lot lighter, so it's not as cumbersome to hold. That's all I have for you in terms of design and specs. 4 out of 5, I just knock off a point because it's not really exciting design. I personally think the camera will look ugly. Some people may think it looks cool, but in general, nothing really pop out there. It's pretty standard, safe design over the last few years. Battery life, this is an easy 5 out of 5 for me. This phone is probably like the best battery life I have ever had on any Android phone. I know a lot of times you see all these tech reviewers talk about all-day battery life. Phone will last a full day, but that's not really true. They say that about the Galaxy S24 Ultra and all these other phones, but when I use those phones, they rarely ever last me a day. The Ultra probably lasts me about 15 to 18 hours a day, and Galaxy S24 series, you can knock off a couple hours off that. In general, it's really hard to achieve a full day of battery depending on your usage style. But the phone that I do have a full day of battery life with is actually this phone and the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I actually average about 36 hours of battery life under light usage. Light usage is me playing games here and there throughout the day. A lot of time I'm listening to music in the background. I got YouTube playing. I'm not gaming or watching Netflix for 8 or 10 hours a day, so I'm not going to have 8 or 10 hours of screen on time. I usually get about 2 to 5 hours of screen on time a day because I don't use my phone for 8 to 10 hours a day with the screen on. But I do like that the overall battery does last me at least 36 hours under light to moderate usage. And that is better than Galaxy S24 Ultra. It's better than even the OnePlus 12 in its own lineup. So this is a really good battery life phone for what it is. And it even has 100 watt fast charging included in the brick. If you live in the US, you're topped off at 80 watt just because of the US standards. And I can easily go a full day without even thinking about charging this phone. I actually don't even need the fast charging because it always lasts me a full day. And if you go to bed and just charge your phone at night, then there's really no need for it to charge up in like 20 minutes. But I do like having that feature whenever I do need it because it usually lasts me about 36 hours. So if I don't charge it at all today and the next day, it might die half day. So a day and a half later, it'll die randomly at, 6 p.m. the next day. And if you need to go to grab dinner or go out in the city, all you need to do is just plug it in for 15 to 30 minutes and then it'll last you another full day. So really good battery and performance. It'll last me a full day. Don't even need to think about charging at all with this phone. Best battery life on any Android phone I have ever used. Customization and features. This phone that doesn't really have any of the AI nonsense these days. Samsung, Google, everyone's talking about AI. Even Apple is talking about AI on the next flagship phone. But Even after using the Pixel 8 and the Galaxy S24 series, I played around with all the AI tricks. It's nothing that I really need or use on a daily basis. So when I use this particular phone, I don't find myself missing any of the AI features. I do wish that the fingerprint scanner is a little bit better in this phone. They're using an optical fingerprint scanner, which is a few years old at this point. The S24 series is using a newer scanner, so I find it to be faster and more accurate. This one unlocks most of the time, but it's not as fast. Not the end of the world. The face unlock is incredibly fast though. But I do like this phone. It has a loud speaker when I listen to music in the shower, much more louder than the Galaxy S24. I do like the IR blaster that I mentioned earlier, 12 gigs of RAM, 256 gigabyte of storage. It's missing desktop mode.
Okay, this part of the video I decided to try something new. Currently playing around with free AI tools for fun and see how it works. Currently my baby is napping, so I can't be shouting into the mic. Testing out 11 Labs, not sponsored, found it doing a Google search, typing out what I want to say, then continue my video from it. These days, being new dad life is super busy, so don't always have free time, sir. Down record in my office, where I'm nice and comfy. Now gonna experiment with recording bunch of random videos where I'm free, and I'll just piece it together at the end. Currently sitting in the car typing out this script. Got my Pixel Buds on, so won't disturb the baby. This is call content creation on the go. Anyways, back to the review. OnePlus 12R is only IP64 dust and water resistant. The 12 is IP165, means it is splash and water resistant. Sink water, rainwater, shower water hitting it is fine, but you wouldn't be able to go in the pour and submerge it in the water, which I am fine with. I don't find myself needing to do that on a daily basis. Overall 4. 5/5 score for customization and features. Flagship phones tend to have at least IP68 water resistant. Would have been nice to see a desktop mode. Wish fingerprint was slightly better, so deducted half a point for all these reasons. Not deal breaker by any means, just nitpicking a bit. Next category is camera. I give this 3, 5/5. Probably the biggest weakness of this phone. OnePlus best camera is on the 12, not the 12R. The 12 have the Hasselblad branding and offers better camera for $300 more. 12R does offer Pro mode, so if you are good with cameras and know what you are doing, can adjust the ISO and all that, then you can probably make it work. I'm speaking from a normal person point and shoot perspective who don't have any idea what they are doing. Pixel, Samsung, and Apple offers better point and shoot cameras without much thinking. Even video on this phone looks a bit pale compared to Galaxy videos. 5x zoom is grainy, but at least it's an option. Base S24 only has 3x zoom. Of course, you can zoom beyond that, but using digital zoom is not as good as using the main camera lens. Overall, this camera is fine for what it is. Not everyone needs the best camera or take pics every day. If you just want a powerful phone with a beast battery, the 12R is more than enough. Which leads me to next category. Performance. Easy 5.5 despite using 2023 Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chip. I've used Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip on the OnePlus 12 and also Samsung S24, and it feels about the same. Scrolling around is fast and smooth. If you told me this is a 2024 chip, I would believe. Real-life use feels the same. No need to pay extra $300 or more if you don't have to. Next category is screen, and this phone has a stunning screen. Want this from Samsung would need to pay $1,300 compared to $500 on the 12R. It has 4,500 nits peak brightness, which is higher than 2,600 on the S24 series.
Alrighty, back again as I am Frankensteining this video, jumping from one location to another. Initially was at my house, then went food shopping. Now I'm back in my office using the bike, and another spec that I started looking at lately is the PWM, also known as the pulse width modulation. And I started noticing this spec more when I was using the Galaxy S23 series. I noticed that my eyes would feel hurt or get fatigued after long periods of using it. And I just realized that the refresh rate is much lower on that phone. So that's why the mini little flickers in the background, it does hurt your eyes over time, depending on how sensitive you are to it. But with the OnePlus 12R, it clocks in at 2160 Hertz. PWM. The Galaxy S24 Ultra comes in at 480 Hertz. So this $400 to $500 phone is about 3 times better. Baby is crying, waking up from his nap. Gotta go grab him, and we'll continue to Frankenstein the rest of this review. Okay, back again. Baby is safe. Next category on the list is updates. For this phone, you're only getting 3 years of software updates and 4 years of security updates. It is light by today's standard, given the fact that Samsung and Google, they're offering 7 years of software support. Even the Google Pixel 8a coming in at $500, which is about the same price as this phone. That phone is getting 7 years of software support. I mean, realistically, I guess it all depends on how often you update your phone and you plan to keep it that long. I know more and more people are keeping their phones longer and longer. Just year to year, these phones don't really change that much. Software is getting pretty good these days. A lot of these phones, they tend to last longer. People like to hold on to their phone longer. Not sure if a lot of people are going to hold their phone for up to 7 years, but who knows? I think 3 to 4 years is fine. For me in general, in the perfect world, if I wasn't doing these phone reviews, I'm probably going to upgrade my phone every 2 years or so, which is what I've been accustomed to in the past just because I grew up in the US. And in general, in the US, the way that people buy their phone, they buy through the carriers, and back then a lot of the upgrades you had to wait 2 years to get a new phone, and I guess I'm kind of just used to that cycle. But nowadays I change phones every 30 days or so. 3 to 4 years software updates doesn't really matter to me, but I think for the mass of the people it would be nice to have the longest software support, so I deducted a point here. The last category I have is value, and I think this is probably the strongest point of this phone. At $500, if you trade in a phone, you can get it for $400. And for $500, you're getting a really powerful phone, you're getting fast charging speed with a charging brick included, you're getting a great battery, a big phone, a bright screen, high nits peak brightness, high PWM, lots of RAM. This phone is just a beast for what it is. Most normal consumers should get if they're just looking for a strong powerhouse phone to play games or watch videos and have a really long battery life. This is the phone to beat. Unfortunately, most people are just going to get iPhone and Samsung just because that is what they're familiar with. They have stronger marketing power, but I think this phone goes unnoticed, and there's really a lot to like about the OnePlus 12R. I think it is exciting, it has great hardware, it crushes the Galaxy S24 even though it is an older chip. It just has so much to offer. Software updates is on the lighter side, could be better, but it's not a deal breaker by any means. This is the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, but overall it's still a fast phone, has a great battery. And for me personally, there are 3 main categories that makes a really good phone. 1 is the processor. You want something that is fast and smooth. 2 is the battery. This has an incredible battery. 3 is a screen. You want a nice bright screen that you can see outside when it's bright and sunny, or you want to see it at night when it's super dim and dark. You don't want it to be too bright when it's at night either. So you want it to be dim when you want it to be dim and super bright when you want it to be bright. And the 4th category is the camera. That's probably the only area where this phone is lacking. But if you are tech savvy and good with cameras, you can probably make the pro mode work. But from a point and shoot perspective, it does leave a lot to desire. Even using Snapchat, I noticed some of the pictures look a little bit more pale compared to Samsung or Pixels. But overall, this is a solid 90%, so an A- for this phone overall. Let me know if you guys agree with my assessment on the OnePlus 12R, if you plan to get it or you already have it. What has been your experience so far? Next phone I'm planning to test is the Google Pixel 8a. And for that phone, I know I'm going to be trading all the power from the OnePlus 12R for a much better camera. So it all depends on what you value more. If you're looking for a great camera, get a Pixel. If you're just looking for a powerhouse with great battery, get the OnePlus 12R. Alright guys, appreciate the time as always. Remember to like and subscribe. Please check out my last day in the life videos if you haven't already. I did a couple videos from day 1 through 5 with this phone just to see how it lasts on a normal day if you want to get a day in the life perspective. But this has been my review of the OnePlus 12R.